Welcome back to Champion News Talk Radio. We are brought to you by championnews.net. Today our guest is Mr. Bill Zettler. He is the author of the Illinois Pension Scam book and a good friend to Family Taxpayer Foundation and Champion News. And you can get all of his information on championnews.net. But Bill, before the break, you had a staggering number that our listeners want to hear.
The numbers are so big that it's beyond comprehension. We have our first $500,000 a year pensioner in Illinois now.
He got $500,000 pension.
$512,000. Last year he got.
That's in 1 year.
In 1 year. Well, wait, that's.
The cost over the years, of course, a tremendous amount.
Be $10 million.
One person.
His normal expected lifetime would be $10 million.
He's making $500,000 a year on a pension.
He's making $500,000 a year on a pension. His cost of living adjustment last January was $15,000. That's more than the average Social Security check.
Bill, of course, that's an extreme thing, and there's only one guy I think probably that's 500.
Mm-hmm. What's his name?
You got 400. And it is a continuum from that all the way down to the ordinary teacher averages about, I think, $60,000 pension.
This year, any teacher that worked 35 years averaged over $70,000 pension.
Over $70,000.
That retired in 2012.
The average for Social Security is, I think, about 14.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly.
So
they're getting 5 times Social Security, and they're not full careers. I mean, 35 years is not a career.
Yeah.
Now,
right.
Bill, who is this person that's making $500,000?
He was he's a medical doctor.
Okay.
So, his argument is, and they interviewed him after I exposed him, and he said he thought he deserved it because he thought he could have made more money in the private sector. I'm not sure that's true, but nobody forced him to be a doctor for the state.
His choice.
It was his choice, and he admitted on air he had no idea what his pension was. It had nothing to do with him becoming a doctor for the state. So the pensions do not attract talent. That's complete malarkey. So we don't need to pay these big pensions.
Anyway, there's very few of them at the university level compared to the many thousands there are at the K-12 system, which is run by the stinking IEA. I say stinking IEA. That's the Illinois Education Association. That is the Illinois division of the National Education Association. Of long-standing, this has been a curse on the education of children in the entire country. In 1993, I'm an old guy. I'm 90 years old this month.
You're seasoned. You're not old.
And in 1993, Forbes magazine wrote an article about the NEA, and they, in their article, big on the one page on the inside, they called it the National Extortion Association. The graphs in color showing the unionization and the cost of things going and the plunging scores of the children in it doing worse and worse as we spent more and more with a stinking NEA is what it had. I've still got, I bought 1,000 copies of that article back in 1993. I've been on the hunt for this lousy bunch for a long time. And I bought 1,000 copies and distributed them. I got 3 copies left. And I'll tell you, there's 6 or 7 pages of the article and a whole page of graphs of it applies to the stinking mess of education with our children by the stinking union that runs the whole thing and spends this ton of money and has bankrupted the state and given money to the politicians that have screwed everything up. Behind it all is the stinking NEA and its cub here in Illinois, the IEA, that has screwed up everything that we've got. A lousy education system at maximum cost.
Now, Jack, you have been on the forefront of this. I mean, obviously,
I've been at it 40 years. When I was chairman of a homeowners group in Arlington Heights, and I invited the superintendent and the president of the local school district to come and explain why they thought they should have a tax increase. I had no animosity at the time. It's just that I suddenly engaged this monster and the arrogance in it and realized that this damn thing is being run by a vicious union for the benefit. And what they have done is they've drawn people into their damn net with unrealistic pensions. They've promised them the moon, has the stinking IEA in the pensions, and they've run up. Bill, how much is the debt that is due in the education pensions alone?
$17 billion have been borrowed for the pensions.
This is just teachers' pensions.
How much do
no,
the
that's all the
actuaries?
pensions. They don't break it out by teachers.
What are the teachers'
everybody
pensions?
everybody gets their percentage. So teachers would have gotten 60% of that.
Now, what is the indebtedness that's mentioned? I've heard figures all the way on up to 200 billion.
Right. That's what's not funded. That's what's called the unfunded liability.
Unfunded liability.
Right. According to Moody's, taxpayers in Illinois owe $200 billion over the next 30 years, plus their normal pension payments every year. According to Moody's, starting next year, we should be making $17 billion a year payments for pensions. That's half the budget.
What is our income? What is our taxable income?
$33 billion this year was the operating budget for the state.
Okay.
They're talking about, Moody's says to catch up on what we owe, to catch up on the back payments, we have to use 50% of the operating budget just for pensions. Obviously, we can't do that.
Let me ask you, Bill, I want to get back to this doctor that's receiving a $500,000 pension.
Yes.
Is there a way to find out exactly how much he paid into that pension?
Yes.
I'd love to find out that figure, just to see what he's getting out of a result of what he paid into.
He paid about $500,000 in, so he's getting about what he paid in every year.
Now, what area is he from?
The total over the years.
University of Illinois.
So he's in Champaign?
No, he lives in Chicago.
Yeah. The thing about the IEA and the K-12 system, which is what I concentrate on, because I mean, what happens in the universities is wild and crazy, and he's paid out of that particular pension thing, I think, isn't he? SIRS.
Yes.
He's paid out of that. But the one that I focused on, because it involves the education of our children and the immense waste that's going on, and the fact that the IEA has set the pace for taking money from the teachers. Like they take an average, well, in 2010, or the last figures we got, they took in dues from the teachers. I'm not blaming teachers. It's a stinking IEA union that I blame. They took from the teachers in that year $132 million.
Yes.
And the Supreme Court decision, in the Beck decision, says that 80% of that is for nothing but politics.
Now,
doesn't have a damn thing to do with the children's education. It has to do with politics. And that money, when you take the 80% of 132 million, that's $100 million a year coming out of the teacher's hide into the politics of the stinking IEA union, which isn't constricted from plunging money into politics like the rest of us are. The rest of us, like I couldn't contribute more than $2,500 to a candidate somewhere. The stinking IEA can give them the moon. And that's what they're doing. They have bought corruption into the entire political system in Illinois because of the unrestrained amount of money they're pouring in, a lot of it just plain taken out of the hide of the teachers.
Does the average teacher know that their union contributions are going towards political work?
Well, you know, there's an argument there. I think they probably do. You have to remember that of the 800 school districts, there's probably 1,500 union reps. So there are union reps in every single school district. There are hundreds of IEA lobbyists in Springfield. So you're talking about thousands of people who are on the ground every day talking to teachers, but mostly talking to politicians.
I've been down giving testimony to the primary and secondary committee of our state politicians in Springfield. And I've been in those meetings when the president of the IEA walks in, and all motion ceases until the grand poobah of the IEA tells them what to do.
Well, I don't want to raise anybody's blood pressure, but there are over 20 union officials in the teachers' retirement system with pensions over $100,000 a year.
Oh, boy. Stay with us. You're going to get lots of more good news when you stay with us after the break. Don't go away.
Don't miss the book that exposes years of corruption and greed in Illinois through the IEA. Take a look at what has happened to pensions and the huge debt left to the good people of Illinois. Read Illinois Pension Scam by Bill Zettler. Visit www.championnews.net or find it at amazon.com.